the nest, but it's like the most expensive one on the market, of course, because I don't know, love to go with things that are expensive. And, but yeah, it doesn't work.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome. Sorry for the brief delay there. We're having a few technical issues just getting live streamed on YouTube, but we're up and running. So I'll call the meeting to order officially at 6:35. And if you're able, I would ask that you stand and join us for the playing of the national anthem. We would like to begin by respectfully acknowledging that the town of Shelburne resides within the traditional territory and ancestral lands of the Anishinaabe, including the Ojibwe, Potawatomi, Chippewa, and the people of the Three Fires Confederacy. These traditional territories upon which we live, work, play, and learn are steeped in rich Indigenous history and traditions. And it is with this statement that we declare to honor and respect the past and present connection of Indigenous peoples with this land, its waterways, and resources. And we would encourage residents to review the call to action information, which can be found by following the link which is contained on our town's website. Just the standard reminder to members to declare any pecuniary interest that you may have in relation to any item on tonight's agenda. That can be done now or as the agenda item arises, and those declarations must be made both verbally and in writing. On to minutes from the last meeting. Can I have a motion to adopt the minutes from our regular council meeting of March the 13th? Moved by Councillor Bernardo, by Councillor Wagner. Any discussion on those minutes? All in favor? It's carried. Okay, so that takes us to our public participation section of tonight's agenda. And the first part of that is question period. Number of people out here tonight, which is nice to see. We haven't had a crowd like this since we've been back in person. It's always nice to see the community engaged. I suspect that at least a few of you are here in relation to one of the presentations, which is going to be coming up a little later in the agenda from our friends at the OPP. Just to sort of make expectations clear, this will not be an open sort of public question and answer period with the OPP. They will be making a presentation to council at that point in the agenda. And then after that, there will be an opportunity for members of council to ask questions of the OPP. That said, the regular question period is next on the agenda. And if anybody has any questions, I would ask that they raise their hand and I'll recognize them at that point. Before we get there, just a couple of quick rules because of the number of people here tonight. Question period in total, according to our procedural bylaw, is permitted to be 15 minutes in length. Each individual resident who may have a question is permitted up to 2 minutes. It is question period. It's not statement period. So although you may have a little bit of preamble to set some context for a question, that's fine. But I will sort of move you along fairly quickly to get to the question, just in the interest of time. Yes, and when I do ask you to come up, I just ask that you state your name and your address for the record before you ask your question. And just one more point of clarification: questions are to be limited to matters that are within municipal jurisdiction. So, for example, we can't entertain a question that is in relation to provincial policy, for example. So, with that, are there any members of the gallery who wish to ask a question? Linda Buffett. Great, Linda, just name and address for the record.
131 4th Avenue, Shelburne. So the questions that I have, two of them are questions that I had asked before. So in light of the fact that we have the OPP here tonight, I'll provide the questions, and I guess this will be dealt with later. So my first question is the OPP, or what is the OPP planning to do to deal with the handling of the protesters? There have been over 26 protests in downtown Shelburne for more than a year now, and I would think that must be a record as far as any other community goes. My second question: does the OPP have a plan to provide a greater presence in downtown? And if so, how will this be accomplished? These are my two questions.
As I mentioned on February 27th, when you asked similar questions, I can't answer those, but that's one of the reasons that we've invited the OPP tonight. So hopefully they can touch on that when they make their presentation. Any other questions? Right, seeing none, we will move on. So the next item is a proclamation regarding Autism Awareness Day. So I'll read that proclamation out. Whereas autism is a pervasive developmental disorder affecting the social, communication, and behavioral skills of those affected by it, and whereas more health professionals are becoming proficient diagnosing autism, more children are being diagnosed on the autism spectrum, resulting in rates in as high as 1 in 68 children nationally. And whereas there is no known cure for autism, it is well documented that if individuals with autism receive early and intensive treatment throughout their lives, they lead significantly improved lives. And whereas individuals with autism often require a lifetime of specialized and community support services to ensure their health and safety, and to support families' resilience as they manage the psychological and financial burdens autism can present, now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Wade Mills, on behalf of the Council of the Town of Shelburne, do hereby proclaim April 2nd, 2023 as Autism Awareness Day in the Town of Shelburne, and I urge all residents to participate in autism awareness activities in order to become better educated about autism and create a better community for individuals with autism. And Jennifer, I believe we're doing the flag raising this Friday morning at 10 a.m. So if anybody's interested to join us for that, I will be raising the autism flag at Jack Downing Park across the street at 10 a.m. on Friday, March the 31st. So the next item is our presentation from the OPP. And just in fairness to our guests, I think we'll just take a brief 5-minute recess to allow them to get set up at the table, and we'll reconvene very shortly.